Hi, the following is just an ebook that I wrote, and I'm going to read it. It's regarding schizoaffective bipolar disorder, and it's more of a self-help sort of guide on how to live with this disorder. So here it goes. Page 1. It says, "My name is John, and I have been diagnosed with schizoaffective bipolar disorder. I am writing this book as a short yet comprehensive guide in assisting those diagnosed with this disorder. I will discuss a wide variety of subjects that I feel may be relevant in assisting you cope, deal, and achieve a standard of living even while having setbacks during your disease-rearing process. I have read quite a few books on the subject of this disease and have done some extensive online research on schizoaffective and related disorders. I have accumulated the information essential for your fast recovery so you can begin living again. Throughout this book, you will learn some new things that perhaps you did not know before. You can apply the techniques I discuss in this book to your life immediately, and you may also find it necessary to do some of your own research on this disorder to further your understanding of the disease and discover hope and guidance for you and your family's future. Below is some quick basics I will be discussing, and then later I will go into further detail on each of the subjects. Some important topics I would like to first put above the rest is nutrition and physical health. These two subjects are perhaps the most important aspects I will be discussing. We will discuss healthy living ideas as well as ways to improve physical health, thus creating a healthier, more fulfilling, and more in-your-own-mind life. Physical health equals mental health. This is very important to remember. We will briefly discuss the various medications available to you, and you will learn the importance of taking these medications regularly to help eliminate, or in most cases, limit the amount of stress and effects of this brain disorder, given you have been properly diagnosed. You will also learn why it is important to stay drug and alcohol free. Other various topics I will be discussing include information about family and social support. It is very important to stay as active as you can in your community, even if that means going to the mall or shopping at the grocery store with your close friends or family. I will discuss why it may be important to attend therapy sessions for support and confidence, and we will discuss how you can find local support groups or outpatient centers in your area. Outpatient centers can be a fun, rewarding, and educational alternative to hospital bed stays. Some or all of these may be very important and part of your process. You will learn about people who are triggering, and you will often be surprised to find it is their ignorance or lack of mental capacity that can keep you from accomplishing your goals. You will learn what to do and how to act when faced with challenging people and situations. Each and every one of you are capable of achieving your life's dreams and then some, especially when you have the proper family, friend, or social support. It is my hope that at the very least you will find that using a little bit of your brain and applying techniques discussed in this book will lead you to a soothing lifestyle. Finally, I will discuss how your ever-changing life should be fulfilling as you encounter new situations on your big journey. It's important to remember who you are, where you came from, and realize you still are the person you were before your diagnosis. If you played football in high school, if you were popular, and yes, even if you were a dork at the lunch table, you are still that dork. Also, you should return to this book offered to you free at my website anytime you need reassurance that you are and can be a positive, successful person in your own right. Over 50 years ago, there was a school of thought by some doctors that schizotype disorders could be cured or fixed by following a nutritional vitamin diet. This school of thought was and still is under great debate and skepticism. However, you will learn how a nutritional approach to this brain disease should be incorporated into your recovery process. When you have all the vital nutrients in your body and you're not excuse me. Jesus. When you have all the vital nutrients in your body and you're not vitamin deficient, your mind and body will naturally operate optimally. There was some vaguely understood debate in medical journals over the effectiveness of taking a multivitamin every day. It is debated that nutrients from essential foods, fruits, and vegetables are the way to absorb your vitamins. However, I will show you how vitamin supplementation is important in conjunction with eating all those boring healthy foods as well. Generic multivitamins from your local pharmacy is probably the best way to go. Men's Health Mega Multivitamins sometimes have a lot of stuff in them you may not need and could counteract your positive mood or may cause you to have some of those nasty hallucinations. I know they have for me. Generic vitamins should be safe. Also, an important part of brain health is to consume omega fatty acids. These can be found in fish oils as well as flaxseed. Make sure you choose a good brand when selecting your omegas, and make sure they are loaded with omega-3, omega-6, and omega-9. If you are buying fish oils, it may be wise to select the mercury distilled omegas. At the very least, I believe you should take a multivitamin in conjunction with omega fatty acids with a big glass of water after breakfast or after dinner every day. Ask your primary care physician or nurse practitioner if you can be tested for vitamin deficiencies. I was surprised to find I had a vitamin D deficiency last summer. I was prescribed a mega dose of a pill. Drinking plenty of water is as important part of staying healthy as cleansing your system. Luckily, my wife and I live in Maine where we have a well in our backyard. The water from our faucets come directly from this well. The underground water just below our yard is pure earth water. It is packed with nearly every mineral you can think of, whereas most city faucets are chlorinated and the vital minerals have been filtered out. I immediately felt the change in my physical health as well as my mental health as soon as we moved in, and I began consuming the water like a high school football captain consumes beer. Are you going to start buying mineral-enriched water? That is completely up to you. Incorporating healthy foods into your diet is a must, especially as we age. If you are not eating salads, there is no reason you should not be. Order them at dinners, have your spouse make them.
Hello, sir.
Add nuts and olive oil, fruits and plenty of greens with other garden vegetables.
Soy nuts, John.
Yeah, anyways, Eric.
Yes.
And it should be easy enough for you to consume a banana, apple, and orange in the morning, given you have fruits in your house. Also, most berries have a lot of good stuff in them. I have noticed there are a lot of juices on TV.
If you listen to the radio, do you mind?
Don't listen to them. Record a
Put
video.
on lower headphones. Oompa doompa doopity doo. I've got another puzzle for you.
I have noticed there are sorry, I just lost my place here. Hold on. I have noticed there are lots of juicers on TV. No, not weightlift juicers, kitchen counter juicers. With all this new age talk about micronutrients, curing disease, and extending your life by years, I seriously am considering becoming a juice guy. I did a little online research and found that juicing your vegetables and fruits is healthy, but a lot of the fiber and vital nutrients get left out of the juice and remain in the pulp, usually in a separate container on the juicer. Luckily, there are some serious juicers, some even available through your TV, that seriously chop down all the vegetables and fruits and include the healthy pulp in your drink. It's important to remember that a lot of vital micronutrients can be found more in some vegetables than in others. For example, a popular juice drink high in nutrients would be a couple celery sticks, leafy kales, a couple apples, and a whole lemon. There are plenty of recipes online for your taste and nutrition needs. Your nutritional diet should consist of what you know is healthy, given what limited information I have provided, as well as what general knowledge of healthy foods you should already know. If you don't know exactly where to begin with your healthy diet, do some Googling or read up on important nutrients for your body and brain. My wife always tells me that carbs are important for functioning. Everything in moderation should keep you moving along just nicely. Now that we've discussed some nutritional basics, rather than reiterating this information later like some books like to do, we'll move on to the topic of physical health, which I feel is appropriate to emphasize on for your mental health as well as your physical health. Exercise is not for everybody. That's the common belief that some of us couch potatoes usually like to do. But that is simply just nonsense. If you are highly inactive, you might still be a very bright person and you might be healthy. but exercise with proper know-how is a good idea if you plan and balance your mind and body like yours truly. I am no expert on yoga, but I have thrown a couple weights around, if you know what I mean. Yeah, a large part of my well-being is centralized around a weekly schedule of hitting the weights. I have considerably tried to improve and increase my routine regularly. Though I am no intermediate, I have a fairly good understanding of how much weight I should be lifting and how often. And by the way, I wrote this book a while ago. I haven't lifted weights much lately. But anyways, working out can be cardiovascular or strength training. You're probably thinking, how does tossing around a couple weights do anything for your health? Especially if you're not building a sweat, right? Yes, I'm thinking the same things. It's simple. Lighter weight, more reps. I'm a pretty big guy, and after a couple hours of throwing around weights, the last thing I want to do is get my aching ass on the road for a walk. Just saying. Walking is a good exercise, and I often try to walk a couple miles with my beautiful stepdaughter down our main road, but after tossing around the heavies like a kid in some Marine's basement tossing around his weights, my back tends to ache. You're probably thinking, huh? Marine? Weights? What's this overly developed man-child talking about? And these are all good questions, but you will learn a little more information later. Okay.
Is that by you?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, now that we've discussed nutrition and exercise, which you've probably heard lots about in 5th grade, we'll move on to more important topics. Medications. Some people fear them, others embrace them. What are medications and how do we access them given we have been properly diagnosed? I should stress that taking your medications is important, and the long-term effects of medications can vary from individual to individual. Another important part of staying healthy through nutrition and exercise was to keep your body from breaking down, especially with long-term use of your prescription medications. I have an uncle who has been on antipsychotics for years. His health is slowly deteriorating now that he is 70, but a good part of that deteriorating health may be due to his constant cigarette smoking. Now, what medications work best? That also varies from individual to individual. For me, the highest dose of intramuscular injected risperidol is what I find makes my life manageable. I feel taking this medication, 50 milligrams time release once every 2 weeks, helps me because then I don't forget to take pills because I get shots. Now, when given shots, it's important to get the whole shot into the muscle. This is something your spouse can do if she is properly trained by a nurse or figure that knows how to do it. Though all of my hallucinations have not gone away, risperidol has given me the ability to function and has suppressed a lot of the hallucinations and mental pain I typically experience when unmedicated. If you have been diagnosed for more than, 5 or 10 years and have stuck to a regimen that has worked for you, your hospital stays should be less frequent if you are hospitalized at all, even if you are going through a tough patch. Most medications can be adjusted by a PDoc outside a hospital environment, and some of the techniques discussed in this ebook I hope will have your life purring around just nicely. If you are still in the beginning phases of this terrible brain disease, or if you are still in denial or medication resistant, I assure you there is no reason to fear. You should be flip-flopping happy to accepting all medications and pills given to you. I just want to reiterate my 2 main topics though, nutrition and physical health. The great John Nash, whose life depicted in the film A Beautiful Mind, recovered from his illness and went on to give lectures at prestigious universities. He was able in time to get off of his medications and live a productive life. Mostly he recounts a wife that stopped hospitalizing him and stayed married to him. He persisted. A family support is essential. You must have people in your life who believe in you. Your talents and skills are warranted by good folks, not unhealthy ones. Triggering people. How on heavenly earth can we deal with them, especially those goddamn phone-babbling nurses? The answer on how to deal with confrontational people and situations may be simpler than you think. And we all know thinking is important. I briefly did some YouTube searches regarding this illness, and for the most part, I found people suffering with what I have are typically interesting or even beautiful people. Some of them I can relate to. Their actions, their thoughts. One girl mentioned she couldn't understand a goddamn thing some people are talking about, and I can't either. I feel it is always best to limit the amount of your medical information you give to your people around you. If you are open about your illness with people, some just may look at you differently. It's always best to give folks very little information about your illness unless you know for sure they are open-minded. At one of my many outpatient groups I have attended, I felt comfortable openly admitting what illness I had to the group. One girl raised her hand and said she was no longer ashamed to admit she had the illness once she saw me open up my case. It's always best to emphasize with people and their situations in all walks of life. Even if they are annoying or if you feel their mental hostility emitting off their face and body language. It's always polite to act proper to the best of your ability no matter how stressful life becomes. People will generally gravitate toward you. I have one son and 3 stepkids. It is my responsibility to tend to the children. It's important to remember you have responsibilities and to engage in those responsibilities even when you are not asked to. If you have had good parents who have raised you right, it's important to learn from them. If they have not been great parents, who cares? They were still your parents. It's good to remember your parents as you engage in life productively as possible and with good intent. If you are of adult age, you should begin considering a life for yourself. Perhaps you want to settle down with someone somewhere. Perhaps you want children who you will raise right. Perhaps kids love you. It's important to know you have the right to live an ordinary life, and you can. You may want to reread this ebook a million times. You may find aspects discussed that you may have overlooked, or you can breeze through it once and get on with your life. Family support, engaging in life. It's always important to engage in life, even when you are exhausted and don't know what the hell is going on. It's okay to get confused. I often am confused and just have to push on and do what needs to be done. Some of you may have a problem with money, especially if you have the bipolar part. It's always good to manage your money or have someone manage it for you if you are a big spender. Spending money is not something I am good at, as I am often forgot the essential necessities of life as I go on my wild sprees. Sometimes at the mental health outpatient center, the whole group would go shopping for a day and we were given a list of food to buy. I found it very stressful. I get lost in supermarkets and often ask the workers where the items are located, which is perfectly fine if I'm looking for weird items that aren't bread, milk, eggs, pasta, and the likes. Naturally, I enjoy shopping with my wife, who knows where everything is. She typically prepares the dinners. I only go shopping or to the market with a limited shopping list. I'll bring one of the little dudes with me sometimes. The kids are great at finding items. It's always a good idea to grab the whole family and get out of the house. With my wife, there is always something to do. If you don't have a close family, grab a close friend and get out of your house when you want to do something. Go shopping, go to the bookstore, go on walks around the city or town if that interests you. Another topic I would like to discuss is the importance of staying alcohol-free. Some of you may have had problems with drug or alcohol abuse. It's important to remember excessive amounts of alcohol can affect you and your medications and your mood. If you are on medications and are drinking regularly, it simply is not safe. Just being the lush I am, it's hard for me to say no to a beer. But it's like I say, if you have to drink, do it somewhere safe, like in your own home. And for God's sakes, don't do it so regularly. I have a pretty good wife. She'll let me drink if the occasion is right, but lately I'm not so sure I want to. It seems my mental capacities just sort of diminish when I am drunk. I am too addicted to my brain and body to let myself become so stupid when drinking. But like I said, the dude doesn't turn down a drink. If I must have a drink, you can be sure I'll be exercising and drinking plenty of water to sweat it off. You can practically smell the booze coming off my back sometimes. Another thing is drug abuse. If you are like most teenagers or people who just haven't really grown up yet, you probably tried to get your hands on something one time or another. The fact of the matter is, unless the drugs you are taking have been prescribed to you by a doctor or nurse practitioner, they probably aren't too good for you to necessarily abuse regularly. If you are a recovering drug user or alcohol user, all the more reason vitamin supplementation is right down your alley, dudes. I'm no devil, but there have been times where I've found my way into my wife's Xanax, or I have been accidentally taking my son's ADHD medicines while sifting through the vitamins. Hell, my wife may even lock up these medicines simply because I'm living with her. The point is, dudes, you should not abuse anything, especially for long periods of time. You know, man? Next topic. Brains. Yes, I said brains. Using them even while losing them. To reiterate the great John Nash, he said something that stuck with me. He said he would always do activities to keep his mind active, and went on to describe how he thought his way out of his unacceptable illness. He would do things like play chess or use the computer. A bright scientist I once knew also told me, I am always thinking. This can't be further from the truth these days for myself. I am constantly wondering and thinking about all sorts of things, challenging myself in all sorts of ways. I've come to find I am more a competitor at heart, and am always comparing myself to the next bloke. My wife tells me it's not healthy to compare myself to others, but every time I see a bigger or stronger guy than myself, I immediately have to justify myself either by hitting the garage for a weight session or planning out my progress for the day's events to come. And this is, I wrote this last year, and I haven't been up to date on my weights. Another thing I have learned is in my mid-20s was getting married and having kids puts so much more experiences into your life. There is no... Turn it down, Art. There is no much more in life to consider when you are married with children. No longer is it me time. There is a lot of compromise to make. A supportive wife has made it all possible for me. Also, I have met more social workers, in-home therapists, and mental health workers alike in the first 4 years of my marriage than most people will in a lifetime. Turn it down, Art, please. I'm making a video. You can turn it on after. In fact, I feel I have obtained in the last 4 years a bachelor's degree in family health care and the likes. Next, I want to discuss how instrumental a group therapy session or outpatient care can be. You will find that there are a lot of people just like you in groups. You will connect with all sorts of people. Making friends there is as easy as it was when you were a kid at the playground. Consider getting yourself into a group at any mental health center or elsewhere. If you are seriously not doing much with your life at this time, you will find them fun, and the people there are usually cool and understand just about anything you can throw at them. I've seen my share of personality clashes in mental health groups. Fortunately, I was never part of any of those collisions. Think of groups as a fun high school environment that you've been in before. Another important part of recovery you may want to consider is individual counseling. Some people might tell you that therapy is very important. Another might say, oh, it's only a half an hour of your week. It shouldn't be considered so important. Any way you look at it, I'm sure you will get the confidence you need and the reassurance from the right therapist. If you are married or dating, you may even want to consider some couples counseling if that is more comfortable for you. My wife makes all our appointments and does most of the scheduling around the house. Sometimes my wife reminds me that all she wants me to do in life is be a good partner. Of course, child rearing and doing my share of the chores is an important responsibility too. Knowing how to operate a stove, do the laundry, wash dishes, turn on a microwave, and looking after a couple little guys is what I expect to be your requisites for engaging in life. If you had a mom who always did the cleaning, vacuuming, mopping, and bathroom cleaning, I suggest most of you guys learn these things if you don't plan on working. Yes, it's true. I do all these daddy things and I am unemployed. I am on disability. But I will tell you, I am no foreigner to the work world. I have had jobs before, and I still do anything at home that requires the same skills I have acquired over the years. I'm sure you can too. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So sometimes I'm too lazy to do dishes, or too frustrated, or I can't seem to focus on a task. It happens. Yet I persist. And with my nutritional beliefs and beliefs in healthy physical health, I am able to do a lot more than I would be able to do when I was less healthy, that's for sure. Another important thing to remember is not hold people's opinions of you back from living your life. If I remembered everything some stupid guy said to me, who himself doesn't even have his shit together, I would probably be obsessing over those things a little more than I needed to. My wife reminds me every day that I am capable and able to do anything I want, even when the stress and insurmountable odds are a brick in front of my face. I believe in you too, even if I haven't met you yet. To reiterate, which I promised I wouldn't do, I just wanted to remind you all to engage in life. Always involve yourself in things, whatever the case may be. Stop giving in to those negative thoughts that seem to come from nowhere and tell you that you just can't cut it. Those thoughts are from unhealthy sources, and I'm sure your time for what it is you're looking for in life is right around the corner. Let's hope so. I would like to give special thanks to my wife, my 3-year-old son, who is a tough cookie, and my 3 stepchildren. Heck, everyone else in my life that makes it a pleasure to be around. And to the cool people who make me feel welcome. I hope this short ebook, saved in Microsoft Word format, will give you peace of mind.